So the T110E3, this is probably the worst tank that you could possibly face, besides maybe a Minotauro, in a hold down location. Having 750 alpha damage with decent standard pen and even better premium pen, it's not really something that you want to be hit by either. I'll be going through everything you need to know about this tank in a full rundown, going through the equipment, the field mods, the crew, the ammo, everything that you could possibly want to know will be in this video, and a full tank guide on the T110E3. So starting off with the equipment choices for the T110E3. Now the base standard equipment that I would recommend everybody to go for is HP Turbo Rammer, because it just works. You gain the additional track health from the HP boost, and then you gain obviously the increased speed from the turbo, and rammer because DPM, it go up. So all three of these in conjunction with each other makes the E3 just that much more annoying to deal with, especially if you are brawling with this tank, because it is going to take sometimes 3 shots to actually track this thing, depending on what your alpha damage is on your gun. Now, some of you may not want to have the HP boost, which is fine, considering that you do get the first field mod, which is going to increase your track HP anyway. That's why I kind of like it with the HP boost, because in conjunction with those two, you get like 552 track health. So if you come up against someone that's got a 240 alpha damage gun, that's going to be sometimes 3 shots to actually track you. Which, remember, this tank can see tier 8s, because that's good and balanced for the game. But for those of you that might want to use vents on this vehicle, that's completely fine, honestly. You can boost up then everything else, boost up your view range a little bit, because it doesn't get that good view range. Although it's not really necessarily a bad thing that it doesn't get good view range, because, I mean, it's kind of a heavy tank. Even though it's a tank destroyer, you should be really brawling with this tank. It's definitely not a sniper, and it's definitely not a spotter. But we'll move on to that. So you can choose vents, turbo, and a rammer. I would never get rid of the rammer though. The rammer is one thing that is completely non-negotiable in this vehicle. You should always have it, because getting that reload time down to the lowest it can possibly go. We'll talk about the field mods in a second with how it will work as well. But just getting that reload time down as low as possible will help you out dramatically, because when you hit someone for 750, they sometimes think that they can get that extra shot off before you reload. And if you've got that reload time down as low as possible, they are going to be sorely mistaken. You get 3.2k DPM if you use this, and if you use HP, 3.1. But that's with the field mod that is going to increase the HP rather than decrease the reload, which, again, we'll move on to in a second. Now, I am going to show you this setup. Some of you may be thinking, Max, what is that? I know. This setup is only for Prokhorovka. And I do mean only for Prokhorovka. No other map in the game I would recommend you do this on. Because on Prokhorovka, there is... I mean, it really depends on Prokhorovka as well. Because if there's free artillery, you don't do this. But if there's no artillery and no light tanks, or maybe there's very few light tanks, then you can go to the middle, only expose your upper hull, your superstructure. They will not pen you, and you have 478 meters view range, which, granted, might not be enough, but you will spot something eventually. It sure beats sitting at the back of the map trying to snipe with this thing, and it definitely beats just being in the middle on a ridgeline that you can't really get your gun over to necessarily shoot the heavies. Because even though that you do get -8 degrees of gun depression, it's not necessarily enough sometimes, and you have to overexpose quite a bit. And when you overexpose on Prokhorovka, you get shot by every other location imaginable. So only for Prokhorovka when there's no RT, because RT will just ruin this setup completely. Every other map in the game, this, maybe you want to use vents, that's fine. Now, moving quickly onto the crew skills, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, because it is basically the same for every other tank. You want Brothers in Arms, repairs, recon, situational awareness, the standard kind of stuff. And make sure you have intuition and Deadeye, because all of those combined make this tank beautiful. Especially Deadeye and intuition, because the way Deadeye works is it's not going to give you just like 3% chance that you do extra damage. It's damaging those modules. So when it enters the tank, you then get an extra 3.81% chance that you're actually going to hit what you target. So for example, on a 60 TP, the ammo rack is directly behind the turret. If you hit that, the chance of you hitting it and actually damaging the ammo rack with this gun is quite high. As you are probably aware, the higher the caliber, the more module damage you will cause. So giving yourself that extra % chance of damaging them, and considering that this already has a high module damage, it's kind of a no-brainer to choose Deadeye. Remember, it is not increasing the module damage, it is only increasing the chance to hit and damage those modules. As well as crew members, obviously, as well, as you see. Moving on to the ammunition loadout, we have something like this. Yeah, I mean, pick and choose whatever you want, to be honest. The shell difference in cost, considering how much the alpha is not actually that much. I know that a lot of you are looking at this and saying, oh, it's 5,200, that's a lot of credits. You're doing 750 alpha. Like, that isn't too bad. Considering that the Super Conqueror has 4,400 for 400 alpha, that makes that 750 alpha very cheap. As I have always said, as long as you are penning your shots, you shouldn't be hemorrhaging too many credits. So for those of you that have loads and loads of credits and have nothing else to spend it on, yes, full gold, completely viable. For everyone else, something like that, and you'll be fine. One thing to mention is that there is 90 HE pen with 1,100 alpha. These things will decimate a 4005, and they are very satisfying to hit. Not to mention, if you get around the back of a tank, more than likely they're not going to have more than 90mm of armor, so you could have fun like that. And now for the field mods. The left-hand side is completely non-negotiable. You want left-hand side for the first one, right-hand side for the second one, and then right-hand side for the third one. What these will do is the first one will give you maintaining speed across all terrain types and 30% to suspension durability. That is your track health. The second one is just going to give you better aiming, so better dispersion values, which is the accuracy on the tank. And the third one is going to give you better view range, just basically for free, because this tank, I mean, as you can see, it doesn't really benefit from the left-hand side. You're going to roughly get 2% after firing. So, yeah, give yourself some free view range for basically nothing. Now, on the right-hand side is where you can start to maybe pick and choose a little bit more. Now, number 7 is going to give you plus 2% to vehicle hit points and plus 20% to crew protection from injuries at the cost of plus 3% reload time. This is the one that I was saying earlier that the thing is, if you're using a large medkit, you can actually negate this completely because that's basically a large medkit. So if we were to choose this and then we put on a large medkit, you'll see we now have minus 8% to protection from crew injuries because this gives you plus 15%. So it kind of negates that completely in a way. However, I do not like using large medkits, so you can kind of... I would suggest that you just pick between them and then choose yourself. But this, in conjunction with vents as your other choice, you get all the way down to 13.29 second reload. And then if you put a gun rammer directive on the tank as well, you are then going down to sub 13 second reload, which is interesting. Because let's be honest, most tanks have anywhere between 8-10 second reload for around about maybe 500 alpha. Take the 277 for example. That gets around about a 10 second reload, give or take, with 490 alpha. You are just a little bit longer reload, the 277, but you get 750 alpha. That 277, if he's unaware, he might want to try and put 2 shots into you when that is not possible. So really just pick and choose how you want to set your tank up in this regard, because you could go for full DPM, and especially if you use like bond equipment as well, that's going to go down even lower. Although I don't really recommend bond on this tank because Bounty does a good enough job. But you can properly surprise some people with this level of reload. But for me, I am going to be choosing the left-hand one because I just want a little bit more hit points. Because especially people are going to be firing HE at you to try and like whittle you down because they just cannot pen you, which Armour Profile will be coming up next. It just makes a little bit more sense to choose a left-hand side for me, especially with the crew protection as well. And then for the final one, this one, I would recommend you choose the right-hand side to get that extra reverse speed, because otherwise you go all the way down to 9 reverse speed. And I don't care how much specific power to weight you gain, and engine power, and even repair time. The reverse speed is something that is severely overlooked by people that play this game. Reverse speed is super important, especially for tanks like this that is meant to just take the shot, pull back, hide, repeat, and just keep doing that over and over again. So I would recommend you choose the right hand side. You don't really lose too much in regards to your specific engine power and power to weight and whatnot. I think that this makes it a more overall package. And now moving on to the E3's armor layout. As you can see, this is firing against itself with its... How much pen does it have? Oh yes, 295mm of AP pen. And everything is red. What if it was to use its 375mm of APCR pen? Well, you have a chance at penning stuff. You have an 81% chance of going through the left here, but that is 340mm thick. And this cupola, the underside, is around about 340 again, but if you go above the cupola, because of the way it's shaped, you will bounce. This cupola is 400mm thick. And the thing is, it gets even worse, because if you use heat against this vehicle, such as the Object 268V4 with 360mm of heat rounds, which is a bit above what everyone else uses with 330, even 350 on some tanks. Yeah. Good luck. Even that cupola, you will sometimes just bounce, because you'll go high, you'll go low, and you'll bounce. This cupola, I do not know why it exists like this. It is super, super annoying. It's one of the worst designed cupolas in the entire game, and not in a good way. I don't know why, man. Like, why can't you just make it? I don't know. It doesn't have to be super, super like weak, but at least then we would be able to pen this thing when it's hull down. Now, if you are face hugging one of these things, do not try and panic and like don't know where to pen. Do not even bother trying up here. Do not even bother trying over here. Shoot here. Every single time. Even with AP, you go left here or right here of the gun. I'll put it even in the visual model. You see how it kind of bows inwards down here? Like it's kind of got like a little bowl underneath the gun to fit the gun mantlet. Just shoot there. You will pen it. It's 76mm of armor. You will pen this every single time. And finally, do not shoot the lower plate on this vehicle. It is stupidly troll. You may see this and think, Max, most of it's green. I don't know what you're on about. This bit here is a 30% chance of you going through it with... It's 300mm thick, is what I'm saying. And even with all the heat in the world, you will still bounce somehow. I do not know exactly what is going on with this lower plate, but even in tanks.gg, it doesn't do it justice to how annoying this lower plate is. If you're using APCR, which we have the 114 SP2, which has about 330mm of APCR pen, you will still end up just randomly bouncing this. It's so weird. I do not know why they can't just model the entire thing and just make it all green, because, as I said, you cannot pen this thing frontally like this. Why can I not pen the lower plate either sometimes? And for the very last thing, I know I said the lower plate was the last thing, but there is this little view hatch here. If you follow it and go down, you will see that if you have APCR, it has to be APCR. Heat won't really pen this unless it's maybe a Panzer 100. You will have a very good chance of actually penning this vehicle. If you just follow it directly down next to the gun here, you see how it kind of has like this ring around it? You can pen this with not ease, right? Because It's not super easy to pen this, but you can pen it. Exactly the same thing on the other side. So either side, especially here, like you can just go straight through this little bit here, and you need around about 330 millimeters of APCR pen. So HORI 3, there you go. Anyway, I think we've spoken enough about the tank. Let us begin with some gameplay. So for our first game, we are on Empire's Border. Not the best map for this tank, but we are going to be going to the J line, the J12 area, and just seeing what we can get done over there. There is tier 8 matchup. It's not too bad. We are, of course, using HP Tower Rammer, because that is going to be what I use on every single map besides proc, as I've already mentioned. And even then, it's debatable if I want to use that. But we are going to be trying to go over to here, and we'll see what's there. In this type of matchup, tier 8s, they can't really do that much to you. I'm just going to try and turn to maybe bounce this guy. He's going to reload maybe before I get off. No, there we go. That's fine. So we have a Skoda T56 coming this side, who is getting, well, eviscerated is the only real wording for that, to be honest. The E4 has gone north. I don't know why you would want to go north in an E4, but there we go. And they do have a T103. Now I'm going to go down to try and sort of play hold down over this side where this Progetto is. And hopefully we can get some shots off that way. The thing is with this tank and this map, there's nowhere to really, like, go. It's super annoying. Oh, hello. So, I mean, at least we're kind of in position here now. Let's see if this M103 wants to try and peek this again. I mean, we have, what, 295 millimeters of pen. It should be enough. You know what? I'm going to push up. Because what I want to try and do is be really, really annoying to these. So we just aim for a little bit. We don't get rewarded for aiming. We might as well just not even bother aiming. And what we can do is hopefully put one into this M103 as he's going back or something. There we go. We do take one from the M103, but that's not too much of an issue. What I'm going to do now is just peek out this side. Just to see what this T103 is doing. T103 is not really peeking me. So maybe we can even put... Oh, hello. We didn't really have a choice. We had to just take the shot as and when we could. Yep. We're now stunned because that's a great mechanic. And M103 gets away because we are stunned. Very cool. Very nice game design, Wargaming. We're still stunned for another 5 seconds. Because that makes a lot of sense. I know the M103 is here. I'm just going to wait until he fires. And he probably gets spotted as he fires. M103 doesn't get spotted as he fires. Oh, hello. Not too sure what you're doing. It is 5-6, and we're losing. At the moment, it looks very, very bad. Okay. All is okay. This tank is so dumb. Like, you just have to angle a little bit, like this, and just wiggle, and they'll probably bounce your lower plate. Like, that is just how stupid this tank really is. Okay, well, I have no choice now but to go back to base. Yeah. I hope they don't cap out, but they're probably going to cap out. Yeah. Oh well. That is Empire's Border for you. You don't play it. It's one of the worst maps in the game. Especially in a slow tank, because you just can't really get back in time. Well, hopefully we can maybe shoot this ST2 or something if he perks out. What a great map. Well, there you go. That was a wonderful map design where you go to one side of the map and it is impossible for you to do anything from there. So unlucky. I mean, you just, every single time you get Empire's Border, you make the gamble, you go where you need to go. If the enemy's not there, you have a bad game. That is as simple as that map is. There is nothing you can do about that. Anyway, we'll play one more game and hopefully we get a somewhat better map. Okay, so we're on steps now. I mean, at least that's slightly better. Still using, obviously, HP Turbo and Rammer. We go to the right-hand side because there is no RT, which is nice. And we're a little bit too slow to go to the left-hand side because if we push up, we're probably just going to die. And if we sit at the back, we're probably not going to have a good game. So we'll go all the way around here and just see what's going to happen. There is the light tank in the middle of the map. So we know that because we got spotted. But we'll go up onto the corner of F12 and just sit there for a little bit. Oh, there is a V4 there. That's crossed. So that is decent info for us. Oh, there's an IS-7 crossing. This is beautiful. Of course the gun doesn't work. Ah, wonderful. Yes. Oh, man. Is this V4 trying to peek? I mean, he is, but... yeah, good luck, IS-7. Is that light tank dead? No, no. Our light tank's still good. Okay. I mean, everything's okay at the moment. This tanks take so long to aim at longer ranges. Which is why you never really want to be playing like this. Like, you always want to be kind of in their face and fighting. It just doesn't do very well as soon as it gets into longer ranges. I mean, maybe we can put one into this. We didn't even scratch them, don't worry. I mean, we basically hit the top of their tank and into his cupola, but we didn't even scratch them. We also know there's an E75 at the back here, which we might actually be able to put one into him. Not so sure. I don't know whether or not I hit the corner or not, so... I mean, the MO2's doing well. Problem is that the MO2 can get shot from the left as he does that. We don't really have enough vision here. Don't quite have a shot. It looks like that shot did go in to the E75, which is good. So we should be up around about 750. Try and get one into his cupola, but it's not going to work. Ah, painful experience so far. Again, that's kind of like another bounce where I thought that would be okay, to be honest. Okay, we're going to go down and see if we can get some shots on this E75 maybe. Of course there's a bat here now, which is going to be super annoying. Let me put one into here. Nice, we hit him blind again. As soon as this guy goes backwards, he should die to this CS and Leo. Yeah, there you go. I mean, sure, well done. You got some shots off, but you should be dead for this. Yeah. And Mill missed as well. Let's see if we can get a quick shot into the Z75. He's still on the corner. This gun really is just something else sometimes. It loves just not going where you aim it. That's annoying. It's very annoying that he died, actually. Maybe I can get a shot on this guy though as he peeks. Ugh, the bat's back again. He should be dying for this. He should already be dead. There you go. Okay, well we have an angle now. As soon as this guy peeks, we have an angle to shoot this guy. Now the VK's pushed up as well. Maybe we can actually get an angle on this as well. If we just poke up a little bit. Maybe? This gun sometimes really is just painful. Right, but I can hit that. Uh-huh. I mean, what are they going to do? Pen like a polar? Good luck! Yeah, I know you're still there, E75. Don't worry about it. I'm going to just push over this. I know I'll take one shot, if I can put one in, and then back off again. There you go. That's not too bad. Be really nice if Lorraine could put one in. What I want to do is try and bait this 277 to come around the corner. He's actually trying to side scope there. Right. This guy needs to die. I love aiming and then just missing. It's my favourite thing to do in this game, actually. Finally! Okay, well, the one tank that could actually cause us some issues frontally is now dead. Which is really, really good for us. And go straight for his side because he turned the turret. Remember, we have 1,500 basically, or 1,400-ish to add to this. Because we hit the E75 blind twice. The one thing that I'm concerned about is people coming up behind us. Which is a genuine issue. The Lorraine's dead as well. Okay. Do you have shots? I'll back off just so that this guy can actually put a shot in if he needs to. Nice. I don't think we're going to be winning this game, but nice. Overpeak. We're probably going to take one from this 277 maybe. Maybe we can hide, I don't know. Nice, lower plate's hidden, so maybe. The Leo PTA though is behind us. Can I turn around fast enough? What do you mean critical hit? I'll be taking one from this 277 as well, which is just fantastic. Not really too much I can do. Yeah, there's nothing I can do here. Remember, 1,500 extra as well, but I mean, what are you going to do? So we get blind all up to 5.5. Pretty good. We blocked 7k. I mean, I don't know. There's not really much more you can do in that game. Like, we held that flank well. There's not really the chance that you can push through with the E3 because you just get shot. So you can't really go to that corner or the little island kind of area with the rocks. So So you just kind of have to hold that corner and just hope that people peek you. But I mean, I think we've done okay overall. It just sucks that our team kind of didn't. I mean, we sent most of the enemy team, or most of our team, over the other side of the map, and they still lost it. Anyway, that's the E3. It is a very good tank. Like, extremely good. But extremely good in really only one way, of just sitting hull down and just putting shots into the enemy as and when you can. It's not the most flexible vehicle, as you saw, especially on that Empire's Border game. It's just too slow to get back to base and do stuff. And it's way too slow sometimes to actually chase damage in games that you need to chase damage in. So it can be incredibly frustrating. This is leaps and bounds better than an E4 though. The E4 has less DPM, completely worse armor, and it's just not very good. Like, everything you sacrifice just to get a turret that doesn't even go all the way around, it's just not worth it for the E4. Yes, you get the same gun, but worse stats. So, I don't know. The E3 is an amazing tank if you know what you're meant to do with it. And if you play it in that kind of respect, you can't really go wrong. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you did enjoy. I'll see you all in the next video.